Learning how to properly process your emotions is an important skill. It's important because we don't want to be staying stuck feeling feelings that we don't necessarily love feeling. Now, this isn't about pretending that we're not having our feelings and shoving and avoiding and repressing emotions. That's the opposite of processing an emotion. Being able to process an emotion is being able to allow ourselves to experience that emotion, to get clarity on that emotion, and to be able to move with and through that emotion. And so today I want to talk to you about some ways to process an emotion using writing. This is something we haven't talked about here before. I've talked to you about how to process an emotion by using your thoughts and just by using your physiology. But I want to teach you how to do some things using writing, because writing uses a different part of our brain that can help us get more clarity as we move through an emotion than just kind of simply sitting and going through the motions in our head. We are going through the motions with our hands and with our eyes, and we're using different senses, and research shows that this can create a whole different experience in our minds and really be able to help us in a way that just kind of sitting and sorting it through internally can't. So I'm going to teach you 5, I'm just looking at my list here, 5 ways to process an emotion with writing, and pick the ones that connect with you. Pick the one, if it's just one that you're like, yeah, I really like that one, I'm going to try it. Or if you like many of them, then take some notes and try all of them, see which works best for you, and then keep doing that one. Whatever works, keep doing it. Whatever's not working, stop doing it. If you're new here, welcome to our incredible little corner on the internet. Take a second and introduce yourself in the comment section below. Always good to have you. If you're back again, either way, my name is Kristina, and I am a registered clinical therapist, a researcher, a coach, and the creator of my membership community, the Shift Society that so many of you have and are a part of. Say hi if you're a shifter. Say hi in the comments so that I can try and catch your comment and say hi to you in there. And in the Shift Society is where we are taking this work to a deeper level. You're being coached and supported the whole way through. It's my brain-changing membership program that you can get more information about in the description below. I help heart-centered humans break through the crap that is holding them back so that they can like themselves and their lives more every day. Learning how to write, making a habit of writing when we are going through something or feeling something is an important skill. It might not feel quite as automatic or natural for some of you, but for some of you who do already write, do a lot of writing to process your emotions, is going to feel like second nature for you, and hopefully you'll get a few more tips of some other things that you can do with that writing. But for some of you, it's not going to feel quite as natural, but I want to just encourage you to try it. I was not a big writer. I wasn't the kind of person that would sit and I've never been a big journaler. I've never had a diary when I was younger. I just didn't really do that. But recently, or I guess in the last several years, I've integrated writing when I'm going through something into my practice, and it has really helped me. And even more recently, I was going through something with a friend, with someone that was close to me. And there were some things coming up in the relationship, and I was finding it really challenging and really confusing. And I didn't know what I was thinking, and I didn't know what I was feeling, and I didn't have clarity. And I was going around and around in my head about it, and I couldn't kind of make sense of some things. I couldn't kind of see the trees through the forest, and I didn't really feel good, and I didn't really know why. And there was just a lot of confusion and a lot of turmoil for me going on because there was so much confusion. I didn't really know what to think or really what was going on. So I started writing out my thoughts. I just started sort of free flowing, being like, this is what I'm thinking. This is what I'm feeling. This is what's going on. And it was so helpful because it helped me to just really understand what was going on just by writing it out. And it also helped me see some of the flaws in my thinking, where I'd write something out, I'd get something out of my head, and I would put it on paper, and then I would see it and be like, well, that's not true. That's not accurate. I'm missing something there. So they did this or they said this, and I'm making it mean this, but that's not actually, I don't think that's what they were intending. And I don't think that's actually what was really going on here, because I have these other examples of them doing these other things that show me that they do care, they do value me, or that I am important to them. right? And so I was able to see it out on paper. My brain was just able to observe it in a completely different way, almost being a little bit more detached from it rather than going around and around in my head. I was able to see it, and my brain was able to automatically just say like, oh yeah, that's not accurate. That's not helpful. There's some flaws there in your thinking. And here's how to think of it in a more responsible way. Here's what might be actually going on here that is not a bad thing. Right? And so that has been so helpful for me. And it's also just been good for me to just understand what my brain is doing and understand how I'm feeling. And just the process of getting it out, I found really helpful. Really, in psychology, there's a word called cathartic. It's kind of a jargony term that just means like relieving or satisfying, or just like it just felt good to be able to do that. To just be able to get it out. And it was almost like getting the thoughts and the feelings out, got them outside of me, and I stopped feeling them just sort of swirling around and sort of bouncing around inside of me. So that is my pitch for writing and using writing to process your emotions. And I'm going to teach you 5 ways to do that right now. The first one is to just journal. To use journal prompts. And if you even just Google it and say like journal prompts, then you'll get tons of example of different journal prompts, different things that if you just want to start, integrating this as part of your daily life, to just start your day with journaling, being able to say like one thing that I'm really grateful for today, or one thing that has made a difference in my life, or one thing that I'm really proud of myself for, or, if I was to live intentionally today, what's one thing that I would do, or, whatever that is, right? There's like thousands of different journal prompts that can just sort of get you in that practice of writing things out, to be noticing things, to be setting intentions, to be recognizing yourself, just sort of getting your brain in a different mode to be able to set you up for just a different way of thinking and feeling and living on a daily basis. So some people just really like that journaling, doing prompts, making it a practice on a regular basis. They find it really grounding. They find it really clarifying. They find it really helpful. So journaling, just sort of getting your thoughts out and, processing what is happening on paper, which leads us kind of to the next one, which is somewhat similar. And this one we do a lot of in the Shift Society, and it's called the SFD. It's called the Shitty First Draft, and I got that from Dr. Brene Brown, who, if you don't know who she is, you could just look her up because most people know who she is by now. She's amazing. But yeah, she talks about this concept of the shitty first draft. And that's really where we're just dumping out all of our thoughts. When you're going through something, you're feeling something, you're in it, just taking a piece of paper or opening up a doc on your computer, a blank doc, and just writing out, just stream of consciousness, everything that's going through your head at that moment, everything you're thinking, everything you're feeling, everything that's happening, and just like getting that draft out without thinking about it, without trying to make it make sense. It's just like this first draft, and it's kind of shitty because you're just putting it all out there. And that in and of itself can help you, like I said before, with me being able to dump out my thoughts, get more clarity. And you can see kind of the shit in there, right? You can see the stuff when you are observing it from this kind of outside perspective. You can start to see the shit. You can start to see the crap that you're like, oh wait, that's not entirely true. That's not accurate. That's not fair, right? That's not what's happening here. And you kind of are able to then start to clean things up as you move forwards, but you got to get everything out first. The next one is to start just writing out your thoughts that are creating the difficult emotion. So our thoughts create our feelings, but we're not even always aware of it. This is a process that we do as well in the Shift Society, is really getting clarity on the thoughts that are creating our feelings, the thoughts that are keeping us stuck in our struggles and in our suffering, and kind of getting deeper as to what's really going on there. But just starting with a practice of just writing out your thoughts. What am I thinking right now that's making me feel the way that I'm feeling? Look at how you're seeing the situation, or the interaction or the relationship or yourself or whatever that is that's leading you to feel the way that you're feeling. If you're feeling discouraged or defeated, if you're feeling down or sad or hurt or angry, what's going on? Why are you feeling that way? Even just saying, I'm feeling blank because, and then just start to write it all out. And that can really, again, start to help you get more clarity. The next one, and this one is especially true if you're hanging on to a lot of anger and resentment or hurt towards someone in particular who hurt you, who wronged you, who betrayed you, who inflicted trauma on you, right? Whatever that is, to be able to write a letter to them. Now, it's not to say that you're necessarily going to send this letter. You can if you want to, but that's not really the point. The point is to just be able to get out everything that you've been thinking or feeling about what happened. Everything. Don't hold back, like what you're angry about, what you're hurt about, what you're confused about, how it has impacted you, how you're struggling with or dealing with it now, whatever that is, being able to write that person a letter and get that all out. Because so often, again, those thoughts and those feelings get trapped inside when we've been through something hard because of someone else's choices or actions or whatever that is. When we've been through that, we carry that around. We carry that resentment. It goes around and around in our head, and we get angry and we get upset and we get stuck in those thoughts. And so being able to just like get it out and be able to write that letter, to be able to say what you want to say, to be able to get clarity on how you're feeling and the impact that it had on you, again, can be extremely cathartic and give you a really deep sense of understanding. I've done this with a lot of clients where I've had them write letters to the person that wronged them, to the person that they've been really struggling with a lot of pain and hurt or trauma from. And I've had them write these letters, and some of them have sent those letters. But the danger with sending the letter is if you have an expectation of how the person's going to respond. Because some of us send a letter being like, okay, I want to send this letter and I want this person to apologize. And I want this person to make it right. And I want this person to like grovel at my feet. And I want them to take full responsibility. And if you're sending the letter with the expectation that you're going to get something in particular from that person, then I would advise not sending it, because that's not guaranteed and it might end up causing more harm than good. But if you're sending it and just like washing my hands of it, I just need to get these words in front of this person. I need them to know this, but I have no expectation of any response. It might even be that they cut off the relationship because they're offended or upset by me calling this stuff out. You know, if you're like, you know what? I just need to get it out there and I need to do this. And also just trying to be at least a little bit clean and classy in your writing instead of just a whole bunch of like, you know, accusations and criticisms, being able to say, you know, using your I statements, and this is how it made me feel, and this is how it impacted me, and this is what I've been struggling with, and, you know, this is what I've been going through, like just owning kind of your own experience with that, because, you know, as a result of whatever they did or didn't do. Again, I would advise writing letters like this with a therapist, you know, because it can, again, cause more harm than good if you do plan on sending it. So just being really careful with that, but more so writing it for yourself without sending it, just for your own process of acknowledging your own experience and honoring what you went through and how you're feeling and getting that clarity. The next one. This one can be a little bit of a deeper one and be a little bit more involved. And I have a tool that's going to help you with it. And I'll tell you about that in just a second. And this one is for you to write out how you'd like things to be. Imagining your future self, imagining your intentional self, imagining your point B self. So if you can imagine yourself right now at point A and, you know, you want to get to point B, where you have achieved something, where you've accomplished something, where you're feeling something, when you're living in a certain way, you're showing up in a certain way, whatever that sort of point B version of you, you're like, I really want to get there. I really want to achieve that or acquire that or live like that or feel like that or show up like that. What is that ideal version? Right? Do I want to feel more motivated? Do I want to be building something that's important to me? Do I want to feel more comfortable and confident in myself? Do I want to be showing up more patient and kind with my loved ones? Do I want to be feeling less angry and happier in my everyday life? Is there a goal that I have? What is that? What is that point B version of you? And then being able to sort of imagine that person. And then taking that person and looking back at where you are now and getting some wisdom or guidance from that person to be able to say, okay, the first step that we took to get there was this. So being able to write out that point B version of yourself And then where you are now at point A, what's the first step that you're going to take to move towards that point B version of you? I have something for you that's going to help you with this. It's called the Intentional Self Journal, where you're living intentionally, showing up intentionally, and not just sort of like reacting to life or just going through the motions of life, where you're intentionally showing up and creating and contributing to yourself and to others and to the world in the ways that you want to be, having the life that you want and feeling how you want and showing up how you want. It's called the Intentional Self Journal. It's free. You can grab that in the description below. It's going to walk you through some exercises, some really simple exercises that are going to help you do this. So using writing as a tool, try it. If you do it, tell us about it in the comments. Would love to hear. If there's one of these that you're going to try that you're like, hey, I'm going to do that one. That sounds really interesting. Then let us know as well. And also just tell us what's one of your biggest takeaways from this talk today. Grab the Intentional Self Journal, get on the wait list for the Shift Society so that you can get in there when we open up registration again. And if you liked the video, if you could take a second to like it and share it, that just gets these tools and these strategies in front of more people and are able to help more people. Always good to have you here. And until next time, take good care.